Bismillah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين الغر الميامين المعصومين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. أما بعد, we were discussing over the last few nights the merits of prayer, special prayer as taught to us by the 12th Imam Sahib al-Asr al-Zaman, Ajalallahu ta'ala And as we've been speaking about this for the last 13, 14 nights, and tonight will be the last night of the series, as we'll have a guest speaker coming tomorrow, and I shall be traveling till we meet for Eid, inshallah, when we meet for that. My prayers are that you have a very blessed Shahr Ramadan. We've spent, we are approaching almost half the month. We've arrived at half of the month, and there's only half of it left. Thank you. The dua al-iftitah, we went through the theological aspect of the nature of God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as per the instructions and the teachings of the 12th Imam. May Allah hasten his reappearance. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge we have our guests here from the folklore who share Abrahamic faith with. We would like to welcome them here. Thank you so much for taking time out and joining us for our Iftar al-Husayniyah. Allah bless each and every one of you. Coming back to dua and to make the most of the month that we have left over, after discussing the theological God characteristic part of the khutbah of the dua, we've come to a part where the Imam introduces the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. We counted how he introduces Rasulullah and the way he recited salawat and how he has praised the Prophet of Islam. And he said that he is the link, he is the cause for grace and mercy, the Prophet that we have. And it is through and by the Prophet that we learn how to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every Prophet in his time, their purpose was for us to rise from whatever darkness that exists within us or the darkness that we find ourselves in. The purpose of each Prophet was to come and awaken us, to come and to make us aware and to teach us how to connect. Yes, what we find in the Quran is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created man, and Allah has also sent him to this earth, and the purpose of them arriving here is to be tested. Not because Allah does not know, or Allah does not have knowledge, or Allah does not know how we shall behave at the end eventually, so that we also understand what we are made of, so we also understand through tests and trials and tribulations. I've used this example before as well. I may feel that I am very good at a certain sport. For instance, let's say if I feel I am a very good student of boxing, the only way I can test that is when I step into the ring. As long as I do not step into the ring, I can feel as strong, as powerful, and as I'll practice as I want. It's when I step into the ring do I really realize what I am made of, where I lack, what I need to work on. When you go to the gym and you work with a teacher, instructor, he'll keep telling you, it's like, what you're right, what you're right. You're lacking in your blocking, you're not covering your face. He can tell you 5, 10 times, and you think you got it right. It's when you not get knocked once on your left, then you realize you will never forget to raise your guard then. Sometimes these hard knocks need to happen. This blessed month of Ramadan, we've had the opportunity, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us through hunger, through avoiding temptation, through fighting temptation. Allah has shown us through His grace and mercy that we are capable. We are very capable. Even the haram of Allah, halal of Allah, those things that Allah has made permissible, if we choose, because of rida, we can avoid. To eat food for you is halal, to eat halal food. To be in the company of your spouse, it is halal for you. Many things are halal for you, but you choose from dawn till dusk to avoid these things. Telling yourself, let alone proving it to other people outside, this is your testament to yourself. If I can leave halal, I can also leave haram. If I can abstain from what is allowed for me throughout the year, I have the power within myself to stay away from what Allah is telling me to stay away from. This is Allah's gift in this blessed month. He said, I want you to know, to learn about yourself as deeply as you can possibly. This goes back to the hadith, Man arafa nafsahu, faqad arafa rabbahu. It's a very profound narration from the Prophet. He says, Man arafa nafsahu, whoever has gnosis of understanding of their own selves, then he begins to start knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's a technicality in the hadith. Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu. This faqad has a fa. One time there's a procedure involved that I get to know my nafs, and slowly and truly, the more I get to know my nafs, the more I get to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes? The other state of being is when I look at something and I say, this is the bottom, which means there exists a top. There's no procedure involved. As soon as you identify the bottom, the understanding of what lays above it comes to you. If I say this is the ground floor, then there exists above it a first floor, for instance. If I look at a structure and they say this is the top, when I say the top, with it comes the understanding of the bottom. So this could also be understood in the similar fashion. Man arafa nafsahu. When you start understanding yourself, with it, along it, is the understanding of the God. When you understand the weak nature of yourself, when you understand the desperate, destitute nature of one's own self, you realize there must exist an entity more powerful than I am, the one that nourishes me, the one that sustains me, the one that provides for me, the one that loves me, and the one that chooses for me to grow. So this blessed Ramadan, inshallah, for the nights that you have remaining, I'm sorry our silsila of reading dua iftitah was cut short because we could not finish the series, but please pick it up when you can at a later time, because many things, the essence of dua, the essence of connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in itself beautiful. Dua is, we have this hadith, it says, Ana jalisu man dhakarani. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I am the company of the one who remembers me. Ana jalisu, julus al-majlis is where you sit. Ana jalisu, I'm the one sitting with the one who remembers me. Whoever remembers me is not alone. I sit right there to respond. The nights that you have remaining, vacate yourself, even if it's for 5, 10, or 15 minutes. I know life is busy, life can get difficult, but vacate yourself or give yourself that time of solitude. Sometimes it may be at home, you may be driving to home or back from work, or even a garden or park outside. Go outside, be where you can be alone with your thoughts. And the du'as that you recite, sometimes we read the du'as, we're not very in line with what the dua is saying because it's in Arabic and we don't speak that language. But pick a phrase and keep repeating that phrase to yourself. And use that as a springboard to communicate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the essence of dua is not to read and recite like a parrot. The essence of dua is to make a dua, to establish a connection, to make a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to feel the connection with the divine. It's a door you knock, and you keep on knocking, and you keep on knocking, and you know it is that door which will always answer. Brothers, I don't know when I see you next because life is unpredictable. Inshallah, Allah give you a long life. One of the du'as to be made in the Shab-e Qadr, in the night of powers, is for a long life. Allah give each and every one of you a long life. When you converse with your Imam, start with the monologue and persist on the monologue till it becomes a dialogue. Persist on the monologue with your Imam till it becomes a dialogue. This is where you need to get to. The one you connect with, al-muttasil bayn al-ardi was-sama, that connects the earth and the heavens. Start with the monologue. Tell him how you feel. Tell him what's going on. And then wait for the dialogue. Open yourself up for the dialogue. Prepare yourself for the dialogue. Cleanse yourself for the dialogue. Empty your mind of what occupies it, except for His presence, and by His presence to get to divine presence. May Allah have mercy on each and every one of us. I pray that we make the most of this blessed month and what's left of it. May Allah help us and guide us. This is a promise that Allah has made. And I've spoken a lot on sinning and making tawbah and repenting and coming back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those stories are not stories. I intentionally chose a hadith and riwayat, narrations and traditions from the blessed mouths of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam, so we understand and we relate to those things. It is never too late to turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is never too late. The worst thing you can do to yourself is to believe or to fool yourself in believing that He will not forgive. Anytime a thought enters in your heart telling you, I have sinned a sin so grievous that He might not forgive it, that is the devil speaking to you. That is shaitan. That is not from the Rahman. Allah says, يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا. Allah forgives all sins. It is for us to turn around and come back. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our shortcomings, to purify our souls, to cleanse our hearts, to elevate our spirits and our ruh, that we make the most of this blessed month, the nights of which are power, our breaths in which are tasbih, glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Pray for those who are unwell. A few people have requested, Shamsi Sahab over here, Qamar Ali Sahab, and a few people have come up and asked for prayers because they're feeling rather unwell, weather change or whatever. Pray. Because like I said, life is unpredictable. Last year you had individuals who were with you in this masjid, in this blessed month of Shahr Ramadan, and throughout the year you heard news of them passing, and now they're not here with us. To the departed souls, please recite a salawat and bless them with the Al-Fatiha.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لم يلد ولم يولد.
السلام عليكم.
ما شاء الله.
ما شاء الله.